right, and we are ready with our next run, ANNO Mutationem, run by MASH. Take it away.
Alright, folks. Thank you for the introduction there, Maddie. My name is Mesh. I speedrun a lot of RPGs, mostly action RPGs, or ARPGs, but I also speedrun other stuff. This is not Dod 2. Sorry to regret everybody who's expecting Drakengard 2 to make it into a marathon that isn't another longer one. But we're playing an awesome game called ANNO Mutationem. It's a bit of a mouthful for a title, but it is a very cool game. It's a 2D and 3D game. You'll see what that is in a brief moment. But we're gonna go ahead. We're playing on easy specifically because this game is not as easy when you're playing new game as some may think. As far as speedrun goes anyways. Casually, it's a very fantastic and fun time. I did struggle for quite a bit and put over 40 hours in my first casual playthrough. But at this point, we're ready to start the run and we'll get to explaining things. So in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so there's a really cool opening cutscene that means absolutely nothing, tells you absolutely nothing, but it means everything by the time we get to the later part of the run, which is about an hour in. So we're skipping all these cutscenes. We are playing a character called Anne, and that will allow, and we'll explain that. So first thing I'm doing is I'm using the scan feature to check my mail. It's a thing that we can do periodically throughout the game. It's used for a couple different things. But we play as this character, Anne, who is sort of like a mercenary for hire. She is a very cool protagonist. There's lots of voice acting throughout this game. And, yeah, so we're just getting to the start of things. Not much to talk about right now. So I will give the floor to Maddie for the next little bit.
Hi, honey.
Sure thing. Well, I have to say on a personal level, I'm excited for this run because I know I've seen you and others talking about it a little bit and how excited they are just to have the game in general. So going into this blind, I'm excited to see what we have going forward.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, this game is definitely not talked about enough. And it's only been out for a year, but it's still, like, such a great game that more people need to play. And it's been on sale for its anniversary recently for, like, huge discounts. And they have a new update that's coming to console very soon with a new whole mini-game that's being added to the game, along with some new outfits. But we probably won't ever see them in a speedrun, because outfit selection is just not a thing we can do in this run, which I'll get to explaining later. But anyways, continue.
Sure thing. Since I haven't actually mentioned it this morning, if you are interested in donating, type !donate into the chat to get a link, and then you can also donate to any of the incentives or bid wars that we still have open during that time. So keep getting those things in. Again, every little bit is appreciated.
Yeah, do get those donations in. They do mean a lot, especially for the charity. Noga has been helping out this charity for many, many years, and it's such a fantastic thing to see them doing. They've collectively done so much great work over the years. Alright, we are actually at a part of the game where I have to explain some game mechanics. This is the tutorial part of the game. It's very good to go over the mechanics as we go through this, because well, explaining this now doesn't make a huge deal. It'll make it a lot easier to reference and have people understand the mechanics of the game as we go. So, of course, we can jump. All the combat in this game is done in 2D side-scrolling sections, sort of like a Metroidvania. And we are learning about the basics of the gameplay. So, as we just did, we could jump over obstacles, and we can climb. We can also roll, which is used for dodging as well as movement early on. And we also have access to other features as well. So now we're just doing some platforming. There is quite a bit of platforming in this game in the 2D sections. So, as I said, Metroidvania-ish. There's plenty of cutscenes in this game as well. About 2 hours of the cutscenes. We're learning about some combat in the game, so our combos and such. And we have charge attacks as well. So, believe it or not, this game has a pretty in-depth combat series of mechanics and different weapons, but we generally only tailor to a couple of them. We also have access to things like defending and counters and such. I'll show them later. I wasn't expecting him to fire that bullet that early. Alright, cool. So we have access to consumables like grenades and stuff out of our hotbar. So we'll be using those early on in the run because our damage is pretty low until about halfway into the run. We also have a gun, so we can use that to shoot enemies at a distance.
Just one more test.
And then we just start putting it all together. So I can give the floor back to Maddie now, and then I'll explain other stuff later.
Sure thing. I know we've been talking a lot about putting in money to the charity here, but in addition to your monetary donations, Go Rescue is always in need of supplies to help keep the pups happy and healthy. They accept dry and canned food, bleach, cheap paper towels, laundry detergent, furniture, and even vehicles. You can also go to GoRescueDogs.com and go to the How Can I Help tab to find their Amazon wish list, and every little bit goes to help those pups. So, are we going to get it all into the story of the game here, or are we just going to be focusing on...
Yeah, we can get into the story. I prefer some people ask some questions that might direct me a bit more with the story for
Sure.
what I should be explaining, because this game is very deceptive with the story, especially early on until we get later into it. So, while it seems like everything's just a pretty cool... pretty normal-ish story. Because we skipped a lot of the cutscenes, especially the very early opening one, it's the one that one, like I said, that doesn't matter but does matter towards the end of the run. It's the one that should kind of alert you that things are not what they seem. So, if you feel like there may be some things to explain in relation to story, or maybe ask some questions about it, I will do my best to answer them. But early on the run, it's really hard to explain the story without some direction, because
Fair
there's
enough.
not a whole lot to explain about the story this far. We're still building sort of our understanding of our character, the world, the characters that we're meeting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we got our cyberpunk future utopia question mark.
Yeah, it's got definitely a lot of homage to that kind of retrospect.
Yep. We have achieved flying cars,
Yeah.
which is the hallmark of every utopia, right?
Yeah. As far as the story goes right now, we went to go visit a guy named Doc Allen, who took a look at us because we were having some dreams and stuff, and we had a bit of a fade out in the middle of the combat training, in which we didn't finish that boss fight in the tutorial, and now we're told we're okay, and now we got called by our sister to come help out over at the bar, so that we can spend some time with our sister and the family and help them out around the family bar. So we're gonna go switch into a nice, sexy maid outfit and serve some patrons some cocktails, because that's what we should do in an action RPG such as this one. So we get to play a nice, cool little mini game that some people might see some references with for the next little bit, and hopefully I do okay with it, because it does affect how many buffs I can buy early on. So feel free to ask me anything during this. I'm gonna try to focus.
All right. I guess I have played Valhalla, the cyberpunk action bartending simulator, and I'm getting some, maybe not exact vibes, but it's reminiscent, because there's not too many cyberpunk bartending games out there.
That's the exact one that this is referencing, funny enough. There's actually a character from that game, aka Jill, who appears to the right of this scene that we
Nice.
would have briefly saw as we walked in. We might see her on the way out if she's there. I don't know if she ever disappears at all, but she is there. So I'm making really sloppy cocktails right now. I'm trying not to mix them too much. I'm just trying to line them up so I can get enough money. If I can afford at least 1 or 2 buffs, then I'll be okay early on. buffs are super important for the run, because they allow us to, you know, deal extra damage where we just don't have it. And I'll explain that when we get to that, but, yeah.
So is the goal there just to serve as many as possible and just whip them out no matter how bad they are?
Yeah, essentially. Just get through as many as you can. Because some of them, like, we will have the opportunity that are really easy. You can't fail them, but you'll get at least half money for them, so
Sure.
it doesn't really matter. The more you can whip out, the better, generally. If you want a perfect run with the minigame, then you want to only miss, like, 2 or less, you know? But, you know, it's not a big deal if you don't do that well in that section. There's a lot of room for error in the early parts of the run. It's the later parts that aren't as forgiving. So anyways, there were some guys that we fought in the alley just a moment ago, and they're looking for our brother Ryan. We come from a family that was adopted by our father, that we'll meet in just a moment here, that adopted many, many children. And our father's a very interesting character. So you'll see what I mean once we start talking to him. There's all these awesome cutscenes that we're skipping, but the game is like pretty much fully voice acted, which is pretty awesome. So we barge into our father's room. He's a retired guy. He's playing computer games, and we unplugged the computer to talk to him. His name is Holtz. And all the children that he adopted, he all gave them the last name Flores. So our character is called Ann Flores, which most people refer to us as. And he's a wonderful, loving father. He has 3 daughters and 1 son that he adopted. And after talking to him about Ryan going missing and the people looking for him, then we head off to go to Noctis City to go visit our brother's apartment. So, Ayana, the character who was talking to us at the start of the game, who then just called us and we skipped through the dialogue, will repeatedly call us throughout the run. Now, there's a couple things about that. First off, every time she calls us, it's awesome, and I love her a lot. She's been growing on me the more and more I play this game. However, she annoys us because we cannot interact with the world, like the environment, to get in our car and things like that, while she's talking to us, so I have to advance the dialogue. So, outside of cutscenes, you could consider them still, like, cutscenes in a way, because I still can skip through them. But she will talk to us, preventing us from interacting and advancing the story if she's talking the whole time. So, we're at our brother's apartment. We learn about the hacking minigame in this game that we'll do a few times throughout the run. So we're going to get hacking level 1, and then we're going to hack into our brother's apartment. The hacking in this game is pretty easy early on. It gets a little bit more complicated later, but it's not too bad. There's only one hacking minigame part towards the very end of the run that's quite a bit RNG. We're also picking up this crypto key for no good reason other than for us to use, like, towards the halfway point of the game. And that will allow us to get a very powerful upgrade for a weapon later. And, yeah. We're gonna get into the first beefy point of the run. We get ambushed by some thugs also looking for our brother. You'll see a common theme and reoccurrence of this quite a bit as we start exploring and trying to figure out what's going on with our brother. But this is a really cool, badass chase sequence that you can experience by playing the demo of this game, which is available on Steam. So you should go and check it out if you're at all interested in this game. Just maybe getting acquainted with the controls, seeing how you like it, that kind of thing. So, Maddie, if you got any questions, you know, now's a good time to go over them while I focus on the chase sequence. And I'll answer as I go.
So I guess looking back at the hacking minigame there, is that like you have a bunch of rings that pop up around you and you're trying to get the gaps all aligned together, and the position of those are random?
Yes, so you're trying to line them up so that you can slide the key icon through them all. And some of them are predetermined, some are random. That's a predetermined one, so it's generally pretty easy to do those. Plus, they're not complicated. Later on, the more complicated ones will be like, they'll have symbols there instead of, like, they'll have, like, symbols donating, like, certain patterns and stuff that you have to memorize, or they might, moving one might move another one, per se, so it makes it a little bit more complicated. But that'll be in the later parts for that.
Alright, looking forward to it. And this looks like a boss-type character that might be, that just flew off screen there.
Yeah, no, he's not a boss. He falls off the building after he charges us, and we'll see him 2 more times in the run, and he really doesn't like us. At all. And now we're killing some guys off screen there, so they could advance this part here to lower the bridge, so we can continue on. We'll be coming up to our first boss in just a moment here. So we're chasing that guy in the background there. He's going to be our first boss. We fight him actually twice, but the first time we fight him is sort of like our first real boss of the run. So we're using our dodge to kind of quickly move past enemies and such here. And we're navigating through here. Like, so this is where we start putting together all the stuff we learned from the tutorial early on. Some of these cutscenes we can't really skip at all because they're important for, like, directing the camera. Maybe it's changing the environment in some capacity. So, so if you see me watching a cutscene, it's because I can't actually skip it. Alright, so, we have a couple of grenades, but I'm going to detour for a couple more grenades. And because, as I mentioned earlier on when we started the run, during the tutorial section, that grenades, when it was telling me about them, are very powerful. And considering that we're not really going to be upgraded to a point where we can handle combat more efficiently, we could just do it the best to our ability. Having these grenades are going to be super handy. In fact, we'll be using one once we kind of flip over to the other side of the parking lot in a moment here. So we just transitioned from a 2D to a 3D section. We're going to quickly stop by this vending machine. We're going to buy a couple buffs that we can afford, and those will be useful. We'll be using one on the boss coming up. But these pair of goons over here, we're going to hope to get them all grouped up together. I want them to kind of get grouped up together. Alright, there we go. Now, the reason for that is so I can throw the grenade to quickly kill them, because every enemy in this game, including bosses, has a shield bar or an armor bar that we need to deplete before we can deal full HP damage. And this bar, the armor bar or shield bar, fully recharges during downtime, and once it fully recharges, then we have to deal damage over again. So now we just buffed up. We can use that armor penetration to lower their HP bar, or the armor bar quickly. And then eventually, once it's empty, we'll be able to deal full damage to their HP bar. So that's the whole purpose of using these buffs, and we use them quite a bit through the whole run. But as you can see, once that bar disappeared, we took massive chunks out of their HP bar. So the fight's divided up into 2 sections. The buff carries over to the second part here, and that will allow us to carry that damage over on this boss. So this boss also dropped the other sword that he was carrying, and we can use that to beat on him and lower the shield quicker and finish off the fight pretty quickly as such. So now we have a 2-hander as well, so that's our second weapon that we got.
Nice.
Alright, so we have a bit of comfort here. I'll let you ask some more questions or do what you need to do while we just kind of recollect after that boss battle.
Sure thing. So, you have your basic sword attack, and I'm assuming then it's like a different button for the 2-hander, or are you actually like switching between weapons?
Yeah, so the way it works is there's a light attack, which is our primary weapon, which is our light sword, or saber, so to speak, and then the heavy weapon is going to be our great sword. So whatever great sword we have equipped there. My right trigger, I don't know what the PC controls are, believe it or not. It's just going to be whatever the PS4 or 5 controls are, but the right trigger for me is to use the gun. And no, before anybody asks in chat how come you don't see me like manually reloading my gun, you can't. something that you can't do in this game, and there's a reason for that. There's a game mechanic in the game that stats that you can get around it that affect the reason for that. So anyways, Ayanna calls us, starts telling us that she loves us, or we're her baby, our lover, that kind of thing, like how to respond to us, which I thought was cute and funny. It's also annoying sometimes when we're doing speedruns, because we can't interact with the elevator if she's still talking to us, as I've mentioned earlier. So, but we're back to Doc Allen to talk about us having another sort of glitch during that boss fight towards the end where we passed out. And, you know, you can talk more if you'd like about anything or ask questions, Maddie. It's all yours.
Yeah. So with the combat there, it looks like there's just kind of like a basic combo string. Is there any more, I'll, for lack of a better word, like advanced like combat weaving, where you're going to be stringing together different combinations to you know, do things and manipulate the enemies, or is it just a little bit more stripped down of swinging and dodging?
Yeah, so there is combat strings. They do get a little bit more intricate. You can make them a bit more intricate on your own if you want as well. But for the most part, for efficiency's sake, we're going to be dealing with some very specific ones for the most part. So, and those are affected by our stat upgrades and stuff as we buy as well. So we won't actually have access to our full combat string and kit until, you know, we start setting our stat points, which we do have access to now. We just don't have a lot to use, right?
Yeah. And a question from chat here, asking about the route. Is the game like fairly optimized at this point, or are new strategies still being found on a regular basis?
Oh, the route is 100% not super optimized yet. It's a very solid route for getting into the game, especially as a new player right now, because, like, my notes were entirely built from the ground up from myself, just playing through the game. I've seen some other runs from a few of the other members that have been running this game more recently, and it's funny enough, like, a lot of our routes and notes and stuff are pretty similar. There's some differences along the way. So there is some variance that can happen. It doesn't seem to make a huge difference because most of us have gravitated towards the same sort of general approach to things. Yeah, I mean, this game is super fun and easy to pick up and learn. There's nothing, like, super complicated about it. Routing could very much change from now and in a few months from now. We're still learning and discovering new things, because, again, there's not too many people that have been working on this game. I've just been working on it a lot over the last many months. So, I guess I should explain what happened there. So I picked up a side quest, and then the side quest gives me a item here that I have to dismantle. It'll be used to make a new sword. So as I'm going to the city, we dismantle it at the other weapon vendor, and that'll make us an upgrade to our sword. And we also bought a upgrade chip for our weapon that we'll be slotting into the sword in just a moment here. So we'll go open this menu. We're going to go ahead and buy our first attack upgrade. I'm also going to buy the reload upgrade and the wombo combo. And then I'm going to go ahead and put on that new sword that we just got and equip that heavy chip, which increases my damage. And we're going to head to our next location. So I'm going to stop off quickly at the pharmacy. I'm going to buy some more buffs here. So, as I said, if we did get buffs early on, we can buy them here. I'm going to sell my old sword, and then we're going to buy some more of these buffs, and then I'll hopefully carry us through the early game until we get to the major increase in damage and massive menu that we have to do in the run. Which, honestly, isn't that big compared to some games I've seen, but it's the most important menu and section of the game once you get there. But for now, we're going to sneak into a nightclub, or sneak behind a guard here into a informant's location to find out where he is, and we're going to find out he's in a nightclub. So, floor is yours again, Maddie. If you have any more questions, while we do that.
I don't think too much at this time. I will say I apologize. My cup of coffee has gone through me faster than expected, so I'm going to have to take just a couple minutes and leave it to you until I get back.
Yeah, it's all good, all good. So we just broke into the room there. There's 2 ways to complete that section there to find out that the informant's at the nightclub that we're gonna try to get into. You can either hack the computer to the right, or you can just examine the card on the desk. Examining the card on the desk is a much quicker way to do this, other than like doing the hacking minigame, at least to my opinion, based on like what I've briefly tested and attempted over and over again. Just because, I mean, I'm really bad at the hacking parts. I mean, you'll notice that throughout this run. Hacking, for me, is just like one of my weakest points in this game. Now, Ayana says that she can help us get into the club because we're not looking good enough to get into a club. So she's gonna hook us up with a friend who opens a clothing store, and they're gonna fit us with a cute new skirt so that we can fit the attire and then get into the nightclub because there's a dress code. It's also a really funny cutscene, but we're not going to be watching that. So we're gonna go back, talk to the security guard, and then get into the nightclub so we can talk to the informant. So this is Lynn. He's the informant who's the last person to have talked to our brother. And he wants $10 million or monies. And we just don't have that money. So instead we're going to do a favor. We're going to track down one of these goons. If that goon looks familiar, he is. He's from the very start of the game. He's the one that charged off the roof and fell. So we're going to go see him again. And, you know, honestly, he's going to exactly remember us. Because, you know, he definitely doesn't like us already. So, we gotta track him down. He's got something that Lynn needs, and we're gonna go and get that for him. It's not really a boss fight. It's a super simple, easy fight, and yeah,
Here we are.
don't have too many issues with it. Anyways, we're gonna open that up. I'm gonna quickly go over here and grab some ammo for my gun so that I shouldn't run out through the rest of the run. Because I try to avoid picking up ammo most times. Unless I need to pick up health or ammo, I'm generally going to be avoiding boxes.
Alright, I am back. Apologies.
Welcome back. We just beat up that guy that threw himself off the roof early on in the run. Also, if I skip that cutscene too fast, some weird stuff happens. I also have to wait for this invisible wall to disappear, because this is like one of 2 parts in the game where that unique thing can happen when you skip cutscenes too fast. But you come back and we're in a cute skirt, and that's what we'll be in for the rest of the run when we're not in combat section. So enjoy.
Alright.
I didn't see anybody. Strange.
So it looks like we kind of have this big open world city-esque thing that we can wander around. How do you know where to go normally?
I mean, it's deceptively not as big as it appears. Like, they've done a really good job with detailing the world, making things really cool and fun. Like, the whole world's broken up into multiple different cities that we fast travel to in different areas. Sometimes you can go back to them and revisit them. There's a whole, like, fast travel system in this game that we just never use. Because it's just inconvenient, and we're only going from point A to point B to point C. We never have to backtrack at all, which is super nice for the speedrun. So you don't really get lost or confused. You know exactly where you are and what you should be doing. But, yeah, like, the levels open up a bit more. Some of the areas become more accessible in these cities. Like, the whole start of the city where we're in our apartment when we start, like, there's half the city that we don't have access to until the very end of the run. But, like, we don't even go to that part of in the run because there's no need for us to do that unless we're doing, like, side quests and stuff like that, right? So there's so much stuff to do and explore in this game, and just stuff to look at because this game is very pretty. I am very guilty of taking hundreds of gigabytes worth of screenshots of this game while playing through it casually by binding a screenshot key to my capture card. So this is the game that did it for me.
Oh, good. There's certainly worse games to do that with.
Yeah.
The art style in particular is very striking. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So I guess I should explain what's going on now because this is important. We'll be here for the next half hour roughly. So, after talking to the informant, doing his favor, he tells us that our brother was last seen going to the Freeway 42. This is the first major dungeon in the run. And we'll be here for, like I said, about half an hour. This is a pretty big area to explore. We will only be going through most of it, not all of it. And that is to find some more clues about where our brother is and about what's going on with the whole situation. And as we dive further into this first section of the game, you know, we'll have more stuff become apparent to us that, you know, that Anne might be going crazy. She's seeing invisible people talking to her.
Yes.
You know, there's some weird stuff going on. And if you happen to be one of those astute folks in chat who might be able to guess what's going on, maybe you're picking up on the references that are very subtle at this point, then you're way ahead of everybody, because I mean, I didn't quite pick up on that stuff until very late in my playthrough of this game. And even then, I still went back casually several times through to kind of get deeper meaning. Also, there's crabs now.
There's now crabs. So yeah, we're going through a sewer here, and looks like some of the crabs you can walk past, and some of them you can't.
Yeah, so this is a scripted crab fight. Those crabs always spawn like that. I throw the grenade at that red crab because he likes to jump. As you see, he was about to jump, and he got some insane airtime when I threw that grenade. So that was really cool.
About earlier.
Also, that's that fast travel and save station I was talking about. We just don't go in there. We are coming up to getting our first like Metroidvania-esque upgrade very soon, but we got some stuff we gotta do. So in the meantime, I don't have too much to talk about right here. We're just gonna be doing a couple hacks here and then fighting off some waves of enemies that are in the sewer and meeting a character called Thomas.
All right. The lady who's up in your left there, I forget her name offhand.
ANNO.
ANNO. What is her relationship to you? Like, because she's been talking at you quite a lot and probably helping you
She's a
along.
long-standing friend of ours. She's known us since we were kids growing up. So she has a strong connection to us as a friend, but she is definitely not very shy about making it known that she does love us more than just super deep friendship. It's a lot more apparent like later in the run as we go through the main story, but she definitely has a thing for us. And as Anne, we are a very serious person who does not want to, you know, show our emotions much, so we kind of brush it off a lot in the main story for quite a while. But yeah, she's a sweetheart and a cutie though, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
So Thomas is just telling us that we need a key to access the later parts of the facility. We need to turn on a generator to restore power to the rest of the areas, and we need to look for his friend who happened to get lost or trapped. So we're going to be venturing over there. Not much to say while we spend the next couple minutes walking there. But then we'll be doing a sort of first phase of a boss fight, quote, boss fight, not really,
Let's go.
section. But we'll get a Metroidvania power-up by the end of it, so in the meantime, floor is yours.
Sure. Well, it's been a little while since I've told everyone what we're doing here, so you are watching No Glitches Allowed 10, and we're raising money for the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. It's a dog shelter in Norfolk, Virginia, and they work to provide a haven for homeless dogs, giving them the time, care, and love they need to find not just any home, but the right home. And so that's where all your donations are going towards, and they are wholly funded by those donations. So any bit you can get in helps those dogs out and is greatly appreciated. I see they're linking the charity link in chat there, but you can also type !donate to find a link directly to donate, and also put money towards the last 2 bid war and incentives that we have open. And if we have a moment, I can tell you about those.
Yeah, go right ahead. We're just gonna start up these generators, gonna get a little loud, and we're gonna kill some grubs, so have at it.
All right. Well, coming up after this, we will have Loom, and there is an open bid war for Miss Dragon. And you can either bully her or let her take a nap. And I believe let her take a nap is firmly in the lead at the moment, because why would we want to bully Miss Dragon? But I'm sure there's some speed differences between those, so if you want to donate either way, get that money in there. We also have wrapping things up. We'll have Tunic, and you can choose to upgrade to the true ending for that game. I would assume that just ending the game normally would be faster. However, we want to get more marathon in and have a happier ending. So let's also get money in to see that true ending.
All right, quote unquote boss is dead. I mean, the boss kind of flew away. Don't ask me how or why it learned to fly. It just did. We'll see it later. We got a bit of a lore section here. This is like the one of 2 parts in this dungeon where we just hold left. And this one is different from the other one that we'll do later, in which we can see and hear story in the background while I still have control and move, and I don't have to manually skip it. So this is like some backstory for like Anne growing up as a child. And then the later one, which we'll be able to skip those ones, is when she's growing up as a teenager. So this is pretty relevant for the later stuff here, and this does kind of hint towards more of the it's not what it seems kind of thing. But yeah, this is just one of those one of the only 2 basically side scrollers in the run, I guess.
A walk and talk section.
Yeah, more or less. Thankfully it's just the only 2 times that we do it, and they're only at the very beginning within this first hour. The other one is only about 15-20 minutes away from this one, so it's not too far away. It's actually in the middle of a boss fight that we'll be doing later. There's 2 bosses in here that we'll be fighting. The grub that flew away is the final actual boss of this area, but we'll meet another one before that fight.
And they're certainly layering on some evocative imagery in that walk and talk there.
Oh yeah, there's the impaled torso figure at the very end there. Yeah, it's the something. Also, we get access to double jump now, so that's cool. So now we have double jump. You might be guessing, what other cool like movement power-ups and stuff are we gonna get? Well, you'll see.
Darn, I was gonna ask that.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll be patient. I'll be patient.
Yeah, double jump is really, really handy. I can't wait till we get some of the other cool tech. Because our movement with the roll is a bit not that great. Alright, crazy lady that we're talking to that may or may not be inside our head. Just kind of go through that. She doesn't have a name in the run, so if you ask me what her name is, I don't know. We never figured that out. Ever. She's just question mark. Or as the game has her appear as just a bunch of blocks. Because her name's being censored. So, maybe there's some hidden info about who she is, but I have my theories, but I'm not gonna go tinfoil hat on us. I'm gonna try to keep my tinfoil hatting for like when we actually get to do things like Dog 2 and stuff, which requires tinfoil hat to go through, because that's certainly a video game.
Drakengard 2 when?
Let's go.
I mean, apparently it was considered, which scares me. So, who knows?
Don't be scared.
I'm happy
proud.
that it's not that, and we got this instead. That's all I have to say. Not that I don't like Drakengard, but yeah. Anyways, so this is not a glitch. I just skipped getting this cutscene that I couldn't skip earlier, so that I can kill this thing and skip the cutscene that it was unskippable. So it's a thing that you can do. It's like the only time you can do that in a run is at that part, which is weird. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm also really bad at making this jump the cool way, so I'm gonna just use the fans to make my jumps further, because it's a lot easier. But as I said, like, this pan is forced, and that was like one of the only ways that you can circumvent the panning in that first part there. So we have to pay attention and watch the other ones, unfortunately. But we can't get by these glowing mushrooms here, so we're just gonna beat on them after we activate the fans to remove the toxins in the environment, so that we can progress further in this facility, which is getting a little odd, because, like, why is all this stuff down in the sewer in the first place? We could also move as the camera pans back to us, so that we can already be getting into position as well. So that's also pretty nice, at the very least. Gonna grab these grenades.
Looks like clearing out some of the fans like actually affects some of the physics, so you can like have a, you know, blowing wind to help you move through some of those sections.
Yeah, it slows me down in that second one when I was trying to walk against it as well, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, there's some interesting physics with certain areas of this game, especially depending on like what the enemies are doing too in the environment. We're going to an area of the game that I like to call the Machine Village, only because it makes me think of Nier Automata when I go here, and for very good reasons. Should be pretty obvious once we get in here why.
Is there going to be a lot of suffering?
There's still questionably quite a bit of mental suffering, I guess, for our characters involved in the story. I mean, all the people down here have been suffering, for sure. Because they're all robots. But they're not robots for the same reason you might think. We gotta beat up these bad ones, though. Alright, so beating up those bad ones is gonna make the good ones show up here and talk to us and invite us into their village. Hooray.
Hooray.
Yeah, they want us to go speak to the village elder. And then we'll learn a bit more about the Mechanica virus, as they like to call it in this game, which is a virus that slowly turns human flesh into biomechanical flesh. So slowly basically turns you into full robot, which questionably may or may not be what happened to our dad at some point or another. That's not, I think, completely confirmed on that yet, to my knowledge. I could have just, like, be misremembering some things as well.
No worries, no worries. Did want to ask, it looked like in that section you were being shot at, and you're just able to keep slashing forward. Is there like a parry mechanic, or is like were you adding in some dodges there?
I was just dodging around so that I could move closer to them without getting hit potentially, or to hit their, like, you can actually deflect their bullets by hitting it like a lightsaber, which is funny. And sometimes the bullets could ricochet back towards them and hurt them, but like very rare that would happen. In the case of us right now with our upgrades, like, there is a whole parry system which we'll get into, but for now I'll explain it when we get to it, but you can do, like, perfect parries or like, when you, instead of, if you just hold block, it will do, like, a regular block and reduce damage. if you time the parry on the moment that the impact is going to happen, you can get a deflect, which then brings you into a counter attack, which is very good at bringing down shields on enemies, especially during boss fights and stuff. And there's an upgrade that we'll get a little bit later that gives us a attack up, or like a morale boost, when we do it correctly.
Alright.
Oh, should probably heal so I don't die here. These guys with the guns are being annoying. Yeah, this early part is a bit rough, because we just don't have as many upgrades as we're hoping for right now.
Sure. In the upgrades that we're talking about, is that more along the lines of just make numbers bigger, or it sounds like it's more adding more types of attacks or more moves to your set? Is that correct?
Yeah, so they're like, we can make our health and our damage go up a bit through the upgrades. Like, it matters to a point in this speedrun, but a lot of our damage is going to be come from unlocking the different moves that we want,
Yes, I don't want
utilizing weapons that we can buy or upgrade or craft later, and, you know, that sort of thing. Like, that's the... Okay, I was meant to jump there, but, you know, that works, I suppose.
I'm distracting you. It's okay.
I don't know why it ate the jump input there, but it's not like it lost me any time, because it just put me to the other side of where I wanted to go anyways, so it doesn't matter. It was just really funny to see that happen. There's only one area in the game where it actually decides to eat my inputs if I'm, like, in a weird spot when attempting to jump. Also, falling from there can make it seem like it's a death fall, so it'll reset me if I'm not careful, so that's why I, like, jump down a little carefully that way. Because the game doesn't expect you to, like, jump down from that high. So, we have the Absalom fight coming up here. We'll be fighting this guy a bit later in the run as well. This fight's broken up into 2 sections. The first part here is the only part that really matters how well we do. For this fight, Absalom does a little bit of warping around. He could be a bit RNG. We want to try to get some counters on him. We have a buff active, but he's being a butt right now. Alright, doesn't matter. Oh no. No, come on, Absalom. Stop. Okay. So that's done. So the walkie-talkie section, part 2, is right here. This is the one where I have to actually skip the cutscenes as they're happening. It happens in the middle of that fight, so that phase 2, when it happens, is basically free for a reason that this kind of explains once we get out of it. But essentially, by the time we finish this walkie-talkie sequence, we have, like, basically our Super Saiyan mode. I guess it's the easiest way to describe it. But it's a meter that charges up that allows us to transform, and you'll kind of see what that does briefly. It's a guaranteed phase 2. Like, you can't lose in phase 2 once you're given it after this. It's just you need to be able to get to phase 2. And that's our introduction to that mechanic, which we will use a couple times throughout the run.
What?
The difference of why we don't use it a lot more during the run is it takes time to charge up, and the other thing is it completely changes our move sets as well. So we wouldn't have access to the same combos and stuff that we'd already be using that, you know, we're more familiar with, or we know that deals more damage. So there's very good reasons why we do and don't use it in certain parts in the run, at least currently.
Okay.
So the other thing too, so now that we have that mode, we can just go ham. We have, we're invincible as well, which is super nice, which is why I said you can't lose. But the other thing you'll notice in some of the fights earlier on that we were doing is that a big red G or C showed up on the screen that shows that I got what they call GROM upgrades. Those are basically our stat point upgrades, and then there's another like currency-esque thing similar to experience that are bits. And those are the blue things that we see that I've been getting. And those bits we can use to unlock new moves and, you know, maybe different skills and stuff. So there's a bit of a difference between those. So you earn the red ones usually from advancing through bosses, and the blue ones are earned generally from killing every other enemy that isn't a boss. So there's a pretty predetermined set amount of stat points and stuff that we'll get in the run, so we kind of just know how many we'll have and what we should be spending it on. But, I mean, some upgrades you can opt to get before others, if you want to. So that's the other thing that you can kind of change up in your playstyle or your routing if you'd like, as well as, like, which upgrades you prefer to get over others. Because, I mean, they do matter a bit, but again, it's going to be like how well you are in one area versus another. Does this do you any better than, you know, some of the other early upgrades do? Because your end upgrades are almost always be the same, because at that point you're almost already maxed out on something, more or less. Oh, I completely did this wrong. I was supposed to turn this back off. This part always trips me up. I don't know what it is about this, but like remembering to reactivate and unactivate that platform is always confusing to me. There we go. We got a counter there. That's what I was hoping for. I was trying to like get the timing off on that, but it's a lot harder than it appears. In the amount of time I've been playing this game, sometimes you just struggle with them, and other times you don't, because they're pretty timing sensitive. All right, so we're gonna drop there. We're gonna jump to prevent the game from thinking that we just fell to our death, and then reset us, and then we're gonna start climbing to our first sort of mini boss fight.
All right.
So we have a few moments if you'd like.
Yeah. I guess a question, you talked about weapon crafting, so I think you could like buy a few weapons, but then there's also like a materials resource that has been happening in the background here.
Yeah, so if we were collecting chests and stuff more often, or sometimes from enemies, we could get random drops that we can... They're basically junk, essentially. Well, junk is a different category, but there is junk in this game. And what that allows us to do is break them down for crafting materials to make, like, ammo or health items and stuff like that, so we don't have to necessarily buy everything, which is super nice. Sure. But we don't do it a whole lot in the actual speedrun, because we're just not farming for materials.
Gotcha. I guess that's where I was gonna head towards. Like, is it, are there, like, predetermined drops that you could rely on, or is everything just random? And
there is predetermined ones, for sure.
Find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the chests that I have in my notes are predetermined. I have routed 50 chests in my notes, not for the sake of the actual speedrun, because we're not picking up all of them at all. They're specifically there as backup purposes or for whatever eventual needs of other categories that I might decide to do down the road that may include picking up all chests just for the memes. So that is just something that I have noticed, that chests are very much set. They do not randomize at all. However, drops and rewards from killing enemies can be randomized and do have a chance to happen.
Sure.
There is also some respawn, like resource points, that also are randomized as well, but as far as we're talking about chest-wise, which are like the red chests that we've been picking up and such, those are predetermined. Resource points, which are things like trash bags, garbage cans, you know, other environmental objects that we can interact with, those are random. So those could add up pretty much anything in them. Usually a junk item that you can sell at the shop for cheap money, or a material that you can break down for crafting purposes. Which, you know what,
Yeah.
honestly, now that I think about it, I almost never explain that when I'm doing runs of this game, because like it almost never comes up. No one ever asks that because it's such a mechanic that is very important to the game casually that we just don't use.
And then, to follow on to that, like, are there any materials then that are potentially missable, or is everything still pretty accessible and generic?
I mean, everything is accessible. There isn't necessarily anything missable at all in the run, which is good. Like, the nice thing about this game is that you can't miss anything. You can always go back. You can always redo stuff. As far as stuff that you haven't done. So it's like, you don't necessarily need to miss anything. Also, we have a fun little mecha section. It's the only time in the run where we actually get to do this. All we have to do is kill these 2 big hives with using this mecha, and we do that by setting up a charge dash between them, and that ends the fight without killing everything else. That's all we have to do for that. It's the only time we get to use the mecha in this section. It's just weird. There's a couple things in this run, in this game in general, that they just do it just because it's fun and it's cool, and then they never use it again. So they're always doing something interesting that you might not always see happen more than once. Which, I mean, some people can look at it as a bad thing or a good thing. It just depends on your perspective. Most of the times when they do something once, it's only for the sake of story purpose, and then besides that, they don't ever do it again. So they don't spend too much time devolving from the main mechanics that they want to improve on. Anyway, so we open a door there. We're going to pick up this AP calibration chip that we're going to slot here into our 2-hander sword. And then we're going to spend some of our stat points that we have now. So we're going to buy that. We're going to buy health here. I'm going to buy the mag upgrade. I'm going to buy the amplified damage. And then I'm going to buy... that's it. I don't have enough for anything else for a while. So that's it. So the one thing I do want to do, actually, is kill all these enemies that are over here as I'm going to the left. Now, this is a room that we have to kill all the enemies in, and you'll know that because of the way the music is playing. It's our indication. Come here. So I want this guy to roll all the way over here. Come here. It'll be a lot easier to kill this guy if he just rolls into the door here. Like that, because then he stuns himself, and then I can deal full HP damage and kill him really quickly. So as you see, like, the music now just went a little quieter. It's more ambient sounding. So that tells me that all the enemies are dead, and we can just proceed. So generally, when the music picks up in areas where you're locked in, you'll know by the sound of the music picking up and becoming less ambient. Which is a cool little subtle touch of this game. This game has a soundtrack of 40+ songs, which is kind of insane for an indie game.
My guess is that it's secretion from the grubs then.
And I'm assuming, like every speedrun game, it's all awesome.
Yeah, like, the soundtrack is amazing. I love every single song in this game. It's really good. Like, even some of the more lo-fi stuff is really good. Like the one that's playing right now, for instance. But they do have some real good bangers that we'll hear later. Sadly, because we do the speedrun, we don't hear all of some of the songs or most of the songs. So you get to hear, like, half the soundtrack, essentially. If that.
Oh, wow. I have noticed that, like, every game that people speedrun has a good soundtrack, because if it didn't, you wouldn't put yourself through that for that many hours, because that's the thing that you tend to notice most.
Oh, I 100% would suffer even if the music was awful. 100% would suffer a game even if it was awful. I have to find the gameplay or the mechanics interesting in some way, or the game is just poorly bad, and that's amusing to me because of the suffering that I'll endure. Because, like, I've definitely been guilty of playing games where music and story is really bad, but generally that's the stuff that I usually crave for and will find in a game, which is why one of the reasons why I'm so interested in this game is just got into it casually because the music and the story and everything looks so cool. And then the game turned out to be really fun too, so that's like icing on the cake at that point. But I am guilty of playing some pretty bad games that don't have anything going for them other than the fact that they're so obscure and no one would be crazy enough to play them. Unless their name is MASH or somebody else that I might know.
and DOD2's not on that list, of course.
Dia2 is one of those games you have to be absolutely mental to want to actually play multiple times through, let alone speedrun it. There's a reason why there's only one runner for that game. Alright, so we unlocked 2 floodgates to lower the water so they could advance through here. We're going to fight a very big crab. Now, we have to fight the big crab. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Big crab is very scary. He can do a lot of damage. I don't have any heals right now, because we expended a lot of them early on. So we're just going to whack on him. You cannot use your light sword against him at all. He deflects it because it's not a heavy attack. So we have to use our big sword to kill him. That'll give us the weapon damage blueprint that we need for the side quest we picked up earlier. But fun fact, we won't be trading that in until much later in the run. I also picked up the lidocaine by accident, so I'm just gonna go ahead and remove that because my inventory is limited right now. And now we're gonna finish that boss fight with that grub that we were fighting earlier. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I stopped to pick up that healing chest because I knew it was there, because I just don't have healing otherwise. So I want to make sure that I have that going into this fight. So this grub can fly, which is kind of annoying. It moves around very sporadically. It also poisons me, which is another reason why I wanted that health bar, or that extra health. I need to wait for this boss to come down. Oh, come on. Come on, mama. Come down here.
That's rude.
Yeah, it's very rude boss.
And so we have like these jump pads in the corner of the room here.
Yeah, we got extra height. Yeah, that allows us to get that extra height that we need. So once we got mama down there, we can beat on her a bit. I'm gonna throw a grenade in her mouth there, which is one of the mechanics the game wants us to do, to get a stun lock going for her, and then hopefully kill her before she rolls away. Yes! Okay, great. She didn't go into phase 2.
Nice.
That's good. So if she starts that roll animation and actually goes through with it, and I don't kill her, she'll roll around, makes the fight even more chaotic and crazy, and then I just have to wait for her and deplete her shield all over again. So I'm super happy that we killed her without that happening, even though the fight did go a little bit longer than expected. Again, that's one of the things with this game, especially when you're speedrunning it, is, especially on new game, is that your objective is to always kill the boss as quickly as possible, in the earliest phase possible. Because the later the fight goes, the worse it gets for you.
Yes.
But, as I said, around half an hour in this area, like I said, finishing up pretty good time through this area. About an hour into the run. Which is pretty good. Now we're going to be heading into another section of the game that will string us into finding out more info about Ryan. But we're also going to meet a character, but not meet them because we're going to skip the cutscene for now. I believe there is an incentive that allows us to see this character that we're going to skip the cutscene for a bit later. Coming up actually soon once we do this next little bit of story progress. We'll talk about more about that, I guess, later. But in the meantime, while I'm getting myself into that section of the game, traveling to a new area called the Harbor at some point, and then, you know, in the meantime, you can talk about the charity, what we're here for, maybe some of the cool incentives that we still have left open.
Sure thing. Well, I'll plug actually another marathon that we haven't plugged too often during this, and we probably should, because several members of the No Glitches Allowed team also work on staff for Complete-a-thon, which is an event featuring completionist or 100% categories. This event typically takes place in the summertime, and so feel free to follow us at twitch.tv/Complete-a-thon and at Complete-a-thon on Twitter for announcements so that you won't miss when the next event takes place, and probably when, I would guess, submissions open for that if you want to participate. But currently, you are watching No Glitches Allowed 10, and we are still raising money for Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. Got to make sure that you all know that. And if you're enjoying this at all, consider throwing a few dollars our way. It's a great cause. You won't regret it. And we're going to be here. We're on our last day. We're going to be here all day. So stay tuned and have some fun with it. So,
Alright, so...
where are we at now?
Yeah, so a lot of stuff just happened very quickly, because a lot of it's cutscenes at that point. So we're fighting Loki again, who's the guy we fought at the beginning of the game that was in the mecha, that we took the sword off of, the big sword. He also has the big sword, and he's actually a tough fight, so you do have to be careful. So we're gonna beat on Loki here. Once we beat on him, he's gonna tell us that he's off the clock and that we should go find TR. TR is another character that works for like an organization called Factio Pugni, which is where most of these goons are hired from. So I'm trying to play this relatively safely. Because like I said, this guy does a lot of damage, and I don't have any heals. So gotta be mindful of him. So anyways, so once we do that TR fight, we're going to be heading over to Harbor Town, which I mentioned earlier. We also left from visiting our sister back at the family bar. On the way out, you might have caught it. You might have to go back. But Jill from Valhalla was over there to the right, as I've mentioned. She is in this game. I know that Maddie mentioned that earlier, that the minigame reminded them of Valhalla, and that's indeed that whole reference there with that area. It's not just put there for the hell of it. I do feel it has a strong connection with the world story between the characters and stuff, because I think a lot of the devs on the team are friends or appreciate and love other games like those as well. So
Hey, it's my turn.
Yeah, it certainly feels like the two games could exist in the same world. Nice dark atmosphere, cyberpunk, bartending action.
yeah, the more and more I play this game, the more and more I actually want to play Valhalla so much. Just because it's like a game that I feel like I just vibe to. It's not usually the kind of stuff I would play, but it 100% has that vibe level, immersiveness that I think I could get into and enjoy.
Yeah, it's probably more visual novel than would be some people's, normal taste. But as someone who enjoys that, it's a very fun game. I would recommend it.
All right, so we're going into the fight club. So we have to win a round of the fight club here, so that the man Proteus that we talked to over in the other bar with the corgi that's also from Valhalla, that was on the counter there, he will let us use this ship with him and go to Factio Pugni's base, which is on a big freight ship. And when we can get there, that will string up the last section here for the opening part of the game, and then send us off on our quest to the very end of the game. So, this is the last small section before the largest section of the game happens.
All right.
In which also means that it will be time to do the incentive if it was met.
It was.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that when we get a little bit closer to it, because it's an interesting one. I wasn't sure, or did I remember that was an incentive that was put forward with this game. So I was very surprised and happy to see it.
Well, good. I'm glad everyone was able to get in their donations for that, and I'm glad we'll be able to see it.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite. It's a cutscene. I'm not gonna hide that fact. It's a cutscene. Also, I went the wrong way. So this place is confusing because you either go left or you go right, and that's it. This whole city is just on a platform that you go left or right on. So one way is shorter than the other. Also, I guess we're just watching this guy do pool because I misclicked. Because the same interact is right next to Proteus. So that's fun. I don't usually do that, but, something's got to happen in a marathon because, wouldn't be a marathon otherwise. Alright, so we're going to the freight ship. There's a lot of cutscenes on this boat. Ayana, like, truly confesses her love for us, but we kind of pass out and leaves her with this awkward silence of, "Where'd you go?" kind of thing, and it's kind of funny, but at the same time, I feel really sad for her.
Takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. So we snuck apart the freight ship here. We're gonna eventually get to TR by the end of it. We're not here for that long. It's a pretty straightforward area, but I mean, casually I did get lost here. I'm not gonna say I wasn't a person to get lost here. The game does give you a map, but I mean, this 2D and 3D environment, so it's like that map almost doesn't help. But you know what does help? There's arrows on the ground telling me exactly where to go that somehow I still casually did not understand. So, yeah, you don't even need that map.
Yeah, no worries and feeling bad there. I would totally have missed that. You know, bright red arrows in the ground, or in this case, yellow. Nah, not gonna see them. So we're doing some combat again, and I had a question for that. Like, what, coming out of like some fighting game terminology at least, what attacks are cancelable, or what moves are cancelable?
Charge ups generally. There's some charge ups that we can't block, and then you'll know actually when a move's counterable, or you know, that you can deflect if your timing's good enough. If there's like a bright glimmer or flash, it's a really short window though. So I mean, if you don't already know what's coming based on like the tell that comes out really quickly, then you'll miss it. But at least like it's identifiable once you've seen it once or twice. You might you know, start to catch on to it. Because like even then, like I'm still missing the windows too. Like it does take a lot of practice and getting used to. And again, like I'm not super amazing at this game. I didn't submit this for the fact of, you know, to showcase, oh, how good I am at this game. It's 100% the opposite of why I did that. The whole reason was to show off this game, show off a really cool sort of speed run, get some more notice for the game. Because again, like it's a game that I think people should play. It's a cool indie game with a really good team behind it. The publishers and the devs are just such cool supporting people. In fact, they tweet a lot about this game on a daily. Like, go check out Lightning Games, go check out the dev teams and stuff like that. Also, we're supposed to get a box to get across this area, but we can just do some mid-air hovering with our sword combo to skip over that. Because,
Very
you know,
sweet.
very cool thing that we can do. I just like also the fact that we do this game entirely glitchless. At least so far. There's some stuff I was looking into recently that might change that. We'll see what happens. I've managed to break this game somehow after many hours, accidentally. Not in possibly useful ways, but we'll see what happens. Once you do one thing, it could always lead to other things. So we have a mini-boss coming up. We also get a missile launcher, which is really cool. I'm going to grab this extra health as well. Pick up the missile launcher. We'll use this missile launcher at the very end boss of this area, not on this mini-boss that we're about to fight. This guy does like to call people a piece of crap all the time. He's not a very nice guy, but he is called the Warden, so he does treat this like a prison. Trying to avoid that attack there. Gonna heal up there. Alright, his charge attack, I've tried countering it. I don't know if you can actually counter it, but I'm not gonna risk it.
Sure.
It's like...
And I guess... For like defensive options, like so if you're in the middle of a swing, are you able to dodge immediately or like jump immediately, or do you have to wait for that sword?
Once I do an attack, I'm committed to it, which is the sad thing. So it's like you really gotta pay attention. So if I'm taking damage, it's because I'm very committed in doing it what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
So it's like I'm not taking it intentionally. Like I'm literally doing what I normally would do, but because his attacks could be like decided differently each time, it's like I'm very committed into doing as maximum damage as possible. So if I take damage, it's just something I have to live with.
Yeah, you're locked into that sword swing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're going to complete it.
I'm very close to death right now, so I'm just gonna.
I'll let you concentrate.
He's dead. I just throw a grenade.
Oh, perfect.
Grenade
perfect.
bypasses most of the shield, so that's the kind of why it's nice to have grenades in case you need them. So that'll fix that. We'll be okay. We'll be getting
Never
some more
didn't
health
have it.
and stuff. I skipped a few more health chests than I normally do. But we'll be getting some here that we can use. Alright, so we'll use that one there, so we can... We also now have a dash that gives us iframes now, so we can use that to move around, which is really cool. So now we have some new movement to use in the run, which will be useful. So this mid-air dash will be nice. So we'll be showing it off a little bit more here. If I fall down in this section, I have to reclimb this whole area again, so it's not a good idea to fall down here. That's actually not health, so I don't... That was going to be a resource material. Alright, that was cool. Alright, so I usually get hit by the fire there, but we used our iframes there to roll under and then dash past the exploding robots and that guy there, which is nice. Alright, let's hope I don't mess up the jumps here. I'm trying to do this in a sequence without getting hit by the robots. I might just play it safe and do it a slightly slower way so I don't have to restart the whole moving between the robot. Ew, no, he exploded me off. Alright.
Oh, no.
Alright, well that's what I was afraid of, but... Why? Okay, so game is eating inputs right now. I don't know why. This area does this. It's the scariest part of the run, because, like, sometimes the game just doesn't want to take my inputs. I think it's, like, when I go too far forward off a ledge or something, the game just doesn't accept the fact that I gave it an input. Anyways, the big piggy guy is back. We kick him out of the tower by beating him up in a cutscene. Pick up some more health kits that we'll end up probably using for the boss coming out. And yeah, so this is going to be the TR fight. So that incentive, if it wasn't met, would have be cut off here. Because after we finish this, we'll do our big menu, and then we get to watch the cutscene. Alright, so we heal up here. This fight has to be done with the missile launcher. I'm going to buff up here. We're going to try to set up for the attack. I want to get his shield down to a point where I don't get the transitional cutscene in a way where I can't actually damage the robots. I also want that extra ammo for him blowing up the missiles that he shot, which is nice. So I got a couple extra ones there. So I want to get these low enough here. So that got me a transitional there. The health's going to recharge, which is fine. I wanted to do it there, so I'm not spending all my time losing my damage. Alright, so one's down. And the buff helps a lot with penetrating the shields, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. So I'm out of missiles, so what I need to do is kill these to get the missile drops. I do take damage when I do this. Just something I can't really avoid.
And not only is it a rocket launcher, it's a triple rocket launcher with homing missiles.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, scary boss fight's dead. I get 8 stat point upgrades. It's just quite a lot at this point in the run. But yeah, it's the TR fight with the mecha arms is pretty scary casually. The boss can like 2-shot me basically if I'm not careful. Does a lot of damage. We'll be doing some pretty big menus with our stat ups at this point and set us up for the rest of the run pretty much. Alright, so we talked to TR about Ryan's ROM to get it back because it was stolen from us. And we get it back because it's broken. He has no use for it, and says, you know, I'm not the one you're after, don't talk to me, he was hired kind of thing.
No point.
And
Sure.
yeah, so now we're just gonna head to the ROM shop back at Noctis and try to get it repaired so we can figure out what was going on with Ryan, our brother, who we haven't seen for quite a while. So Proteus is going to introduce me to Lures, which we saved. We're going to meet him at the shop, and then we're going to do some menuing here. So I'll explain it after the menu, after the cutscene, but we're going to buy 20 steel. I'll explain some stuff after. But we're going to buy 20 steel here, 20 carbon. This is going to be used to make a weapon that's very powerful, which we call the Mamba. So we're going to make the Mamba at Thomas von Korn, which is Kornbro's brother, which, I mean, I didn't talk about. But he owns and runs a fight club for a short duration in the game. So we're also going to purchase a new sword upgrade, and then we're going to purchase a new gun upgrade as well. And we're going to go ahead, and I need to use that crypto key that I got earlier, get this master chip, and then we got to equip our new stuff here. So we need to, oops, I need to take off that chip, equip the new sword, put the chip on, put the master chip on, take off this chip there, put the new Mamba on, put the chip on there, swap to the new gun. We'll do our stat points here, so we're going to max out our attack stat, get the defense, get some defense, health, and crit, inventory space. We're going to get our morale boost there, second level charge for our Wombo combo, and that'll set us up there. And we're pretty much good to go. So the incentive's actually going to start right now.
What's wrong?
Which we got met. So we're gonna meet Saint Nicholas, thanks to the people that made this happen. You know who you are. So enjoy. It's one of my favorite cutscenes. We get to meet a girl that we met earlier on that we skipped the cutscene for. But it's nice, cool cutscene. It's also one of the longest cutscenes in the run. But hope you enjoy.
Hi there. My daughter found you outside and brought you here.
Hi, I'm Sigrid.
I'm Holtz Flores. Call me Holtz. Okay, little Sigrid. Where's your home?
Not sure. I just remember a room full of people, all kinds, and they all wore white clothes. Each time there were different ones. When I woke up, there was fire everywhere. I followed the sound to get out.
Sound? Oh, someone sounds hungry. Oh, let me grab some food. You go and watch TV in the living room. I'll just have to call the orphanage later.
This cutscene is so precious. This girl has never seen some of the stuff that she's looking at. And she's hungry. Her tummy's grumbling.
I can't believe I caught my dad putting a gift in my stocking. Santa Claus isn't real. Santa didn't show up because you've been naughty. I always get gifts because I'm a good girl. And I met him. He had a white beard, a red hat, and he had reindeer. Maybe Santa asked my dad to give me the gift? Well, who really knows? Wow, Santa Claus! I want to get a gift from him, but will this...
Ooh, ow, oh, my back! Ow, what a fool!
Who are you?
Why, I am Santa Claus, of course, little girlie. I am here to give you a present.
Really? Can I have one?
Yes, my child.
Thank you, Santa! A teddy!
I mean, ho, 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 ho.
Who are you?
Man, easy.
You're trespassing.
I'm Santa, the bringer of joy to children.
Bullcrap. If you're Santa, I'm Jesus. Who are you?
I'm Santa Claus.
One more time. Who are you? You think I don't know Santa? I never received a single gift ever.
Ooh, wow, poor kid. Yeah, but I'm telling you the truth.
Who are you?
Saint Nicholas.
Okay, that's it.
Whoa, 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 wait. I just came to give this girl a present. I'll leave now.
Get out! Leave my house! Wait a minute. I just realized you owe me decades of gifts. I need to seal up this fireplace. Next time it'll be the Easter Bunny.
Sorry for causing trouble with my magic.
Magic? Sigrid, he was just a thief. You shouldn't lie, kiddo.
I wasn't lying.
Oh, this is not good.
Archwizard will punish me.
The Arch... what?
All right.
Something else.
So that was the incentive. I hope you all enjoyed that brief moment of cutscenes and VA work, because it's one of my favorites. It's such an interesting thing to try to understand and unpack, because it is relevant to the story, believe it or not.
Could it be because of her?
So I'm sure you'll have questions about that, but yeah, totally watch Dad rob Santa at gunpoint.
No explanations needed.
It's pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, Sigrid, the little girl that we found, who's adorable and precious, I love her so much. She obviously has some sort of magical ability here to kind of make things happen when she wants, which is pretty cool. We'll learn, like, if you play this game casually, you'll learn a lot more about what that has to do in the run story-wise, like lore-wise. But I'm trying to avoid spoiling that stuff, because I really do want people to play this game casually and enjoy it themselves, because there's a lot to kind of unpack about the run. I also totally went the long way to go to where I wanted to go, so that's fine. I'm committed to going this direction. So the reason we come back here is to repair that ROM disc that we got from TR at the end. We're going to stop by the pharmacy here. We're going to sell off our old weapons. We're going to buy our last set of buffs to stack up on for the rest of the run. And that will allow us to kind of plow through some of the bosses, because we do have a boss gauntlet to go through. So we're going to buy as many of these as we can. You can usually buy like 13 of them. So that's what we're going to do. And then go repair the ROM at the shop there. And that'll put us on the path towards getting to the end game. Which does another significant ramp in difficulty. So when we were doing the TR section, that was our first jump in difficulty, and then our next jump in difficulty will be happening once we go into the next area. So we watch the ROM, which is just some weird image that's kind of fuzzy and stuff, hard to make out, but it brings us back full circle back to Doc Allen's lab, which is where we were at the very start of the run. These cars are being rude and blocking me. I've never seen them spawn like that. And so, you know, things are kind of going full circle. So now we're going back to the very start where we picked up in the first city. And things are going to start unraveling a little bit more with what the real story of the game is. Because there's, like, two different stories going on at the same time that kind of converge at this point. One being Anne's story, which is what we're mostly seeing throughout the run and experiencing. And then there's a whole separate story hidden away in a lot of the cutscenes that we've been skipping that delves a bit deeper into, like, the backstory and lore of what's going on with Anne in the actual truth. But, you know, Anne's not aware of all of this right now. But she soon will be, or at least most of it. So we did our big menu of the run. We set ourselves up to have better weapons and upgrades and such, so that we should have a significantly easier time doing this section of the run.
I bet that's no coincidence.
So we gotta hack our way into Doc's lab here, and this is where the hacking starts getting a little bit more interesting. In the sense that, like, moving one part of the hack moves another part. And again, I'm not very good at these. Something I don't practice as much as other sections of the run. But for the most part, they're pretty straightforward. So you just want to hack them as quickly as you can. You got about a minute or so to do so. We're going to pick that up. It's extra health and a flash chip. And then this is going to start a boss fight right away. But the boss fight is taking place somewhere else. It's not actually taking place in reality. And I'm not going to go into detail in explaining that. Yeah, we could talk about it a bit, but like I said, this game has got a lot going for it that isn't super apparent on what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and equip that flash chip that we just got to the greatsword here, because it actually works really well at taking this boss's shields down. does extra elemental damage, which is a whole thing in this game. I also want to try to line up as many of the charges on the Wombo combo, which is what I call it. It's the double charge on the boss. But with that buff active, we can kind of drop this boss's shield a bit more. Now, I was hoping that I wouldn't get confused there, because that normally doesn't happen, but thankfully it wore off. We're gonna drop the boss here, start setting up for the damage, hopefully kill it before the other phase happens. Oh my god, the boss moved so I can get the grenade in. Okay, so this fight's not going as smoothly as I was hoping, but it's fine. It's not a hard fight. It's just getting the phase timing is the annoying part about it. Alright, fight's over. Okay, so we just fought the boss in an alternate reality. We're talking to the mysterious woman again. She tells us about the inner consortium and that all our secrets and the mystery will unfold and be told down there. So this is the last major area of the run. We spend pretty much half the run here, or what feels like half the run here, because it is a very long, large dungeon that we do a lot of backtracking in. So, this is where things kind of switch to a bit of the dark side. Also, there's a monkey in a lab coat. Anyways, Maddie, got questions? Got anything you want to talk about?
I'm here.
I guess a few things. First and foremost, we should remind everyone here that we're still raising funds for the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. They have a website with its own section for adoption success stories. And so, you know, feel free to go check that out at gorescuedogs.com/success stories for some adorable pictures and heartwarming tales, much like the cutscene we just saw. Thank you again for everyone who donated to watch that. It was very precious.
Oh,
and
100%.
And then a question for you, Mash, with the combat here. Like, I know we have a gun in addition to the 2 swords, but we're not using that a whole lot. Is there... I'm guessing there's a reason for that.
I'm just really bad at trying to work the gun a bit more into my combat. Technically, I should be using it more, because, like, it's a gap closer type weapon, so using it is very nice. Problem is that you do make yourself vulnerable while using it. And, because like I said, when you go for an attack, you are committed to the attack for the duration. But the gun is really nice. It's just, it doesn't deal nearly as much damage, so I generally only use it when I feel like I need to. Which, most of the time, it's just trying to work it in, play like I said, like a dance of death, I guess, with the enemy, to try to work that in. Most times, I just forget we have a gun, in all honesty.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to keep track of, so simplifying things to make it more manageable is definitely understandable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this part of the game goes from, like, wholesome, cute, and kind of, you know, generally really cool to a bit dark, because we're in an area of the game that, I mean, should be giving off a lot of vibes to maybe some other games, maybe like a whole series of lore stories that are outside. There's a whole thing to discuss there. I mean, some people might have some ideas. If you happen to see it in chat of what it might be, what this is pertaining to, then that'll be really cool. Maybe someone that isn't one of the runners can pick up on what's going on with this area of the game, because it's like I said, there's a lot going on, and it's a lot to try to take in without a proper explanation.
Did you turn off
I also just don't want to spoil it unless it's brought up, because there's a lot to kind of talk about. If it's brought up, I'll talk about it briefly, but there's a lot of cool stuff in this area that we just don't get to see, because we just go from point A to point B, try to get what we can done, and backtrack a little bit. Oh my. Okay, that...
chat. I want to see explanations in chat there.
Yeah, put your tinfoil hat on, because this is the one area of the game that, you know, kind of need it.
What is this place for, and why are we here?
Yeah,
Wrong
why
answers only.
Why is this whole place hiding under the very start of the game? What is the purpose of all this? You know, what's going on? I thought this was some game about trying to find your brother and reunite family and have wholesomeness. Got to meet Santa after all of course, right? So, you know, what does any of this have to do with what's going on right now? Well, we'll find out. Anyways, we have a bit of a boss here. We'll get our next Metroidvania-esque upgrade. 2 guesses at what it might be. Or 1 guess, actually. First we gotta kill this ninja assassin, so I'll let you guys guess what that is. Alright, done. Alright, so we just beat her up. We don't actually... we just defeat her in that fight. We don't do anything else. I'm already using the upgrades, so I mean, it kind of spoiled it on its own. But yeah, now we can wall climb. We just became Samus Aran without the ball form, unfortunately. So, sorry. Well, we now have these scary horror balls chasing us. So in this part, we have to move these blocks quickly so that we can get away from them, because they will kill me, and I can't kill them. We're also going to damage boost through this one. I say damage boost as if, like, you know, it helps me at all, but it's just, I want to skip a movement cycle where I have to avoid them. So I just take that damage there to get around it. We're going to heal up here. So skipping through that one doesn't do anything for me because I need to wait for the top ball to be on the left side. And it's almost always on the wrong spot. So we're just getting through this section. It's almost over. We got a bit more to deal with these enemies. Fall down here. Get through this area. Now this one is a little tighter for getting away from because this one chases me. I have died here before in game overed, which is not how I expected to see this happen, but this is an interesting chase sequence. Because it does pick up speed and momentum, and it's kind of Monka-esque a little bit here. We're too slow. I mean, it's not hard to keep distance from it, but I mean, if you do make more than like 1 or 2 mistakes, then it will catch up to you and instantly make you restart that section. Alright, so ANNO was about to spoil something there. I'm glad I finished the dialogue there before she actually said it, but it might have already appeared on screen because there is subtitles. Because I generally like to play games with subtitles here. Okay. Trying to... There we go. Cool. Alright, so we lined up that hack there. We activate a lift here to access a lower platform. We're going to be picking up another card key, which is allowing us to access other parts of this facility. As well as we'll get, from the other card key we pick up, we'll get access to a new weapon that we will only use a couple times. We got it very late in the run. But it is a particle beam. Big, giant laser. And it's very good. Just not good in general use, but it's very good for what it can do. But we use it specifically to blast the horror balls, as ANNO calls them, that are chasing us. So we'll go ahead and swap to that. And that'll start a scene here where one spawns in front of us. There's nothing that you can do about it, so we'll just charge that up and kill it.
Nice.
very, very convenient. If you don't have that particle cannon and you go walk into that room to that horror ball, it will straight up just run into you and you will die. That is just how that fight goes if you don't have it. So it's the game teaching you that you're missing something. Alright, so we take out these soldiers on the top here that have guns because they're annoying to deal with otherwise. And then we'll just fight everything else on the ground floor. What I do like to do is charge up the particle beam here and shoot it across the floor here to quickly clean up some of the enemies and then wrap up the rest, because there's a bunch of mines and little robots and dudes that are here, and it take a while longer to clean up normally. I also just don't have iframes, like I said, when I'm doing attacks and stuff, so I only get it when I'm doing the dashes and stuff like that, so when I'm committed to an attack, I just have to be... I do have to be a little bit careful about what I'm committing myself to. Alright, so now we can move on. There's Cornbro there. Alright, so this boss that we're about to come up to, he's very familiar. Like, I mean, very, very familiar. If you were here within the first 15 minutes of run, you'll know what I mean once we see this boss. Just checking my stats and stuff. We'll be doing another slightly big menu here. So we're gonna buff up here, so that we can deal with taking on this boss. Just gonna do a charge attack here, which is like the scariest attack this boss does. It can instantly kill me no matter what, because it just deals absurd amounts of damage really quickly, and I have no way of avoiding damage once he hits me with it.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so if he hits me with that charge attack, he will just deal insane amounts of damage, and there's nothing I can do about it. Alright, so we finished that boss. He has 3 phases, but we can kill him in the first phase really quickly, because if you go to the other phases, like I said with other bosses, the fights just get more chaotic, more scary, and it's just not a good time. So I transformed there to make sure that I finished that fight within the first phase with the damage up. So it looked really cool. It's a little flashy, and it just saves me the headache of that fight just going prolonged, which is like the worst thing that could happen. Also, we still haven't found Doc Allen. I don't know where he went.
Now one of the chatters here, with our guessing, has said that Doc is from an evil organization.
Yeah, I mean, evil organization's one way to look at it. I mean, not from an evil organization, but you suppose on an outward impression based on how it's presented, you could see it as that. There's a lot of moving parts with the story, and like I said, like it's a matter of perspective. A lot of this really is.
Yeah, evil is a matter of perspective. Some of the time.
I mean, most times, yeah. I mean, for this game specifically, it is 100% a matter of perspective.
Oh yeah.
It's very clear who the evil and bad guys are in this game. It's just not as straightforward with figuring it out the first time you might, encounter it. So I go this direction, which normally we can just avoid, but I'm just picking up some safety things like particle beam ammo, an attack damage buff, that kind of stuff. Also gonna talk to the brother here. I'm going to purchase a new greatsword now. So that one that we crafted is no longer gonna be useful to us. We're gonna swap to a much stronger one now that we have the money, because that's what was limiting us from doing that in the first place. And now that we have stat points, we're gonna finish getting most of our stats that we need for the rest of the run here. I get my level 3 charge to the greatsword, and then I'm gonna, for safety reasons, stop by this shop here. Anytime you see Cornbro here holding sign up, usually means that, hey, There's some tough stuff coming ahead. Maybe you want to buy some heals, you know, before it happens, which is always good. Very good indicator.
Looks like.
And this fight that's coming up is a little scary. It's 4 mini bosses that you fight simultaneously. And one of them has a Gatling gun that will shred me, no matter how much HP I have. And I will pretty much immediately die. So... so not this guy, but we'll see some more of them spawn in from the background. And those are the ones we want to be careful of. There's a couple times where he's been off to the right-hand side of the screen, and he's totally shredded me completely without me realizing it. Because I get caught by one bullet, I have no iframes, and I just take the rest of the bullets immediately without being able to react to it. So the guy to the right there in the background is the one that we need to pay attention to. He's the 4th one that spawns in. I'm gonna actually just go over here because it's safer to be near him than it is to be in front of him. And then deal with him. And like I said, with all of our upgrades and stuff now, like I said, once we bring those shields down, these enemies go down really quickly, which is super nice.
Well done. And I was holding my breath through some of that.
Yeah, like I said, the scariest part about that fight is the Gatling gun guy, because if he does catch me with a bullet, you don't have iframes once you take the damage. You just keep taking damage. I only get iframes if I decide to dodge or dash. So, that is... Oh, that was a super easy hack. How come I can't get those all the time? Alright. Anyways, yeah. So that's the end of that fight. We're gonna get another card key here from this scientist lady here. She is currently okay, but after we talk to her, she's not gonna be okay. Hence the title of her name right now. So she gives us the card key. She only tried to keep her mentality state in check long enough to give us the card key, and now she's mentally insane. Don't worry about it. She'll be fine. Maybe. So this part here, we generally try to like damage boost through the lasers because it's slower to try to avoid them. So if you have heals, it's kind of what we try to do. Doing the mid-air dash kind of like makes you go the opposite direction. If you walk into it normally, then you're in for a bad time. Anyways, this is an auto-scroller section. I can't do anything to speed this up. There's one more part after this. This one's the shortest, but if you got some messages to get out, now would be a great time.
Sure thing. Well, we've talked about most of the things that we need to this run, so we'll just recycle and make sure that everyone out there knows that you're watching No Glitches Allowed 10, and we're still raising money for the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. You know, my time as host is nearing its end, and I would love to read some more donations. My one goal in life is to read donations, so any amount, get it in there, as long as it's you know, safe for puppies, then I'm happy to read it. Yes, exclamation point donate in chat to find that link there. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing what you all have to say.
Alright, so lock-in room fight. Just deal with some goons here. I'm getting really bad with my directional input there. There's gonna be a guy that spawns here, so we'll charge up the Wombo combo. Bring him down really quickly. Now it is slower to do the finishers like I'm doing right now, but they are free. You are totally invincible. Well, they're active, so do take advantage of them, especially if you think that you're not going to survive, maybe potentially taking a hit from a stray enemy that you're not currently focused on. I do recommend doing that. Because it is a mechanic in this game that, you know, use it if you can. You know, because at least you're invincible while it's active. And it deals flat damage too, so like, I mean, that's the one thing that most times you would want to avoid it, because it doesn't take into effect your other stats and your buffs and stuff for the true damage potential you could do in a much quicker time frame. So anyways, we loop back around with another card key here. We have this big guy here that we want to get some guard counters on, if he lets me. There we go. There we go. And then that'll make bringing his shield down much quicker so that we can get through this. Alright, so we're getting really close to finishing up this area here. There's only a few more parts to this this dungeon of a place. So like I said, we have a bit of a boss rush to handle as we go towards finishing up the run. Lots of cutscenes, like I said, happen in this run. So we're going to be doing the second fight with Absalom that I mentioned that we fought earlier when we were in that machine city. Absalom's significantly more challenging and harder here. He does a lot of pretty wild stuff. So we're hoping that we can deal with him without too much issue. So we activate a couple 30, but a couple 1-minute buffs here. Now, he always gets you with that, like, tricky attack combo there, which I always fall for it and try to counter, which you can. I have done it. It's just super difficult to do so. So now he does some pretty crazy stuff. We're pretty good on stats right now, so it's not like a big deal. We have as much damage as we need to finish up the run. Not a whole lot of reason to do anything else. But we do want to try to kill him as quickly as we can while our buffs are active. There we go. Got a counter there. I thought I dodged that, but okay. Yeah, and that's not where you point the gun. Alright, so that fight's over. We got 10 more stat points to use here. We'll spend them in a bit. But we also have the hardest and last hack of the run coming up.
But I think it may be related.
There's only been a few times when I've managed to do this hack without it, like, timing out completely. Because it is 100% random, and, like I said, one of the most complicated ones, too. So every part of this moves in a particular way. Like, once you got them lined up how we need, then it's not that big of a deal. But we want to get them lined up in such a way that that they both move together in unison, the top and the bottom. So there we go. I didn't time it out, so we did pretty good. It was a little bit slow, but we got there. So that opens the door to the other side of this inner ring of the facility here, which is called the Consortium. So we're just gonna take a stroll to the other side of this facility as we watch the map kind of rotate, which is pretty cool. Go in the door, thank you. I get a little confused there when, like I said, the transitions between 2D and 3D are very smooth. It's just when I'm trying to path quickly, I can kind of like get stuck in a corner because I'm trying to like cut corners really tightly. You know, I did forget to do something before we went down here. It'll hurt a little bit with the damage later, but It's fine. I forgot to pick up a crypto key that I need. But that's just for damage. We can still do the run without it. Because that would explain some of the damage fall off that I have right now. It's still 100% doable without it, though. So I'll just be doing this with one master chip instead of two. So
I guess I don't know if you've talked about those. What is a master chip?
So the master chips are one of the most powerful upgrades you can pop in a weapon. It's a 30% across the board for pretty much everything, from damage to crit rate and stuff like that. So it's very massively increases your damage, especially when you have two of them. So at two of them, it's like 60% increase in your damage output, which is pretty big. I only have one because I forgot to turn in the side quest that we got 30 minutes into the run. Because again, it's been a while since we picked up the side quest and we've been able to complete it, but you know, we literally completed at the very last possible moment. And me forgetting about that means that we do not have the crypto key, and me backtracking to get it is possible, so theoretically I could just use one of those teleporters that we don't ever use in a run to go pick it up, which I may do. There's just not a convenient it's not a really convenient pathing to get back there directly, because there's no like warp station right in that spot.
Yeah, it would be a time loss.
Yeah, it would be a bit of a time loss, but I am confident that we can do it without it. It just means one of the later fights coming up soon will be a bit more interesting. Also, with these laser grids here, if I get hit at all by any of these laser grids, we do have to completely restart dodging the laser grid. So it is highly important that we do not get hit by the lasers here. Because it's just, like I said, an auto-scroller, so it's pure time loss. But they're easy once you know the pattern, so it's not a big deal. I also like the music in this area. Like I said, it's not as much lo-fi as the other parts of the game have been. Alright, so this one's almost done. We just gotta wait for 2 more passes here. How?
Oh,
wait,
no.
what? I got robbed.
Oh no.
That 100% got robbed. I've never seen it. What? It didn't even touch me. Okay, I just got robbed, so we just lost a minute.
Well,
did that
is it safe
actually
to say
connect
that-
to me? It didn't look like it connected to me. That's actually never happened. I've never got robbed like that before. Wow.
it is a marathon, so, you know, everyone check off your bingo sheets.
Wow. Okay. So the blocks that you see there are supposed to stop the lasers from touching me, but for whatever reason, while I was on the block, it hit me as it was going up the block, which is weird because it shouldn't have done that. But okay, game, you win. I've been doing
Well,
nothing but complimenting you, and that's how you treat me?
It was so nice we get to see it again.
Yeah, we just get to chill here for another minute.
We're enhancing our calm.
Alright, I will stay further away from the sides of the block this time around. Yeah, because that, like, should not have touched me at all.
Well, I'll plug a few things then to help you out. After this run, which has been fantastic, so thank you for showing it off. But after this run, we'll have a showcase of Toho 6, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, one of the all-time greats, and that'll be played on hard mode with no bombs, so super excited to watch that. And that'll be followed by the Bard's Tale Remastered, doing Episode 1 any percent. And then after that, we'll have Loom with any percent VGA. And we do have a bid war open for that game, which is to either bully Mrs. Dragon or let her take a nap. And I believe let her take her nap is still in the lead. So if you want to further cement that, Miss Dragon has had a hard time and really should be left to her nap, or whether you are feeling like a meanie and want to bully her, you should put in some money towards either of those choices. But it looks like we're onto a boss.
Yeah, so the assassin friend that we met earlier has a partner. So I guess you could say they're sisters. I don't know if they are, but we get to beat out 2 of them now. This one is a little annoying because they attack me when I least expect it, and they're a lot harder to get the deflects for the counterattack off of them. And they kind of chill in the background for a little bit. So this is like semi auto-scroller, semi-not. But once their shield drops, they are easy to kill. They die almost immediately, which is super nice. So Knight is in chat there, and I see that they mentioned the one thing that I was unfortunate to just find out about is that the laser hitbox is a lot bigger than it appears. So now I know.
Well, marathons are a great time to learn things.
Oh my. Okay, block puzzle's gonna do this to me, I see. Alright, so we'll take this a little bit slower then. Alright.
And this looks like it's a timed thing. Is there like a sync to the music in the background, or?
Yeah, they're on a cycle. They're on a cycle, basically.
Okay.
So, just need to be here on certain cycles. Normally you can skip most of those blocks and like dash over. So we're picking up another armor-piercing chip here. We're going to equip that to our big sword weapon. We grabbed the card key from the floating scientist there. And then we're going to head for deeper into the facility. And there's a lot of grubs here. Stuff like that. Alright, so the samurai here, he has a couple unblockable attacks. That's one of them. Oh my, I'm getting the timings off on that. Okay, whatever, he's dead. Alright. I love how I have to wait a second, because he's still got like 0 HP, but the game counts it as 1 until the stun wears off. So, we just wait at the door until he dies there. And, so now that we opened the other side of the facility, we gotta do a little bit of a backtrack. Had I had that, crypto key... Had I... Please? Let me out, lasers? Yeah, the game is trying to bully me. It's like, you're not watching the cutscenes this time, so I'm gonna bully you. And it's like, I'm sorry, game. I know I normally watch all the cutscenes, but please don't bully me. So normally, if I had the other crypto key that I turned in the side quest for, I'd be picking up in the area just past here. We have a couple more mini bosses to take care of, and then we'd be equipping that to our weapon. So. But, we just won't have it for 2 fights, basically.
Alright.
So it's not a big deal. Oh, I missed the third one. Alright, so another big boy shows up here. And they shoot a lot of missiles, and they hurt a little bit. They also have a big stompy jump attack. But we have the Wombo combo, so we'll use that to our advantage. And at least you can stagger them while their shields are recharging. So that chest that we just passed on the left there as we left that room has the other crypto key. But, or the other master chip, but we don't have the crypto key because I didn't turn in the side quest for it. Because eventually I was going to forget something in this run, and now I did. So, that's a first.
So, I had a question about earlier, and more of a joke, not serious, but do you think flying robot drones count as birds?
In this game, 100%. 100%. I guess it depends on the world in which the flying robots would be considered as. I mean, because, like, as far as we know, there's no actual birds. I could be wrong, and there's birds in this game that I just don't see, but I'm 100% convinced they're robots in this game, which is totally fine. Maybe they were affected by the Mechanica virus, and they just went full robot. I mean, it's very much possible in this game.
I think it's a well-known fact that birds are jerks, so
Yeah.
those drones were being jerks, and by that evidence, I think we have some compelling evidence.
Yeah. So this is the last section of the game now. We have 2 final bosses to deal with, 1 small defense mission. We just skipped a part there. Well, sorry, we had 3 bosses and 1 small defense mission that won't take too long to do. But then this part, basically, just as we walked through that door, the game told us, hey, this is the point of no return. If you go any further, you won't be able to redo anything or finish stuff that you didn't, finish or whatever. So it's a nice way of telling you that, you should probably go back and do stuff if you want to, which is super convenient for those people that want to do that, because there's a teleporter room right there. So the game now thinks that I need to do something that I didn't do, because casually you can get to it and find it normally, but because we didn't do it, and this is a speed run, the game's just gonna make us do the thing it need us to do, and that's to go find a boss. It's a pretty well hidden to get to, but we need to do this boss for the story context because it prevents something from bad happening to us. So we meet a character, Caster, who we see only in cutscenes, and we meet his partner, Melissa, and she's a cutie. I love Melissa a lot. I wish we didn't have to beat her up, but we do, unfortunately. And Melissa's a little annoying because she's a little hard to counter. She throws ice spears. She can slow me down and freeze me. We got the counter on her. Oh, that's the ice attack. That's not the one that freezes me, thankfully. Oh, that is. Alright, so now she gets iframes. We just have to dodge the icicles here. I don't even know if you could one-cycle her or not. I could be completely wrong and you can. I just have never been able to do it. I've gotten really close. Yeah, but if we get her in a stagger like that, it's probably doable. Because after her shield breaks down, she can get staggered like we just had her there. And that could potentially allow us to do the one cycle on her. But it's very rare that I've gotten remotely close enough to being able to do that. But I'm sure the 2 other runners that I know have been active with this game may know a bit more on that, because they probably practice that fight a lot more than I do, to be honest. I don't do resets in runs, so when it comes to practicing, I generally just take the whole run as is, because it's shorter significantly than all the other games that I run. So. Alright, so, that out of the way, we're on the actual last area of the game, which doesn't take too long to do. We have, like I said, 2 bosses left, and then 1 small defense mission. And then, we're pretty much done. So, we'll be ending soon, so just don't blink for the next, 5 to 10 minutes, because we'll be done before you know it.
Got my eye drops handy.
Don't actually not blink though, please. That'd be very
No,
stressful.
Everything you say is true.
Alright, so now that we've found the inner consortium, we've met some of the quote-unquote good guys, depending on the matter perspective, and they want to prevent the end of the world, because Thea, who's a completely different character from Castor, is got some plans to bring about his own goal of you know, saving the world, which is very much against everybody else's ideals. So again, matter perspective here. We're gonna go ahead and buy some very short temporary buffs. These will pretty much only be used for this last section of the game, just to kind of increase our crit damage a little bit, and add a little bit more armor penetration. We're gonna also do our last sort of like menuing upgrade to the game. Gonna go ahead and give us code Zeus there, and then add the other armor penetration chip, and then we'll just throw on the last 2 chips on our gun that we got, and do our last statting. Get our upgrades there. Need to grab duration and walk on time. Sure, because I don't have anything better to spend it on. Alright, so in this part we have to protect us and Sigrid. Well, sorry, protect Sigrid, but like, you know, not die. And then we'll follow it up immediately with another boss.
What you said at the tomb, did you already forget?
So this part is actually really easy to lose on if you do not have the equipment and the combat skills to deal with it, because she can die really quickly. I have missile ammo, so let me just use that. So some of these fights in waves are timed. So if we finish them too early, it won't immediately transition with this like unskippable scene here, with T in the background fighting C. So they're having a duel on top of one of the conference tables, which is pretty cool. In between the waves here, we have to dodge some knives and stuff like that. Oh, what is wrong with the timing? There we go. Alright, so that guy's dead. There'll be another set of samurais to spawn as well. There we go. That's not a blockable one. Samurais are more of a threat because they're like dealing the most damage to the shield. And yeah, let's just say at this point I'm just trying to mash through the damage, which is like, I'm really bad at mashing in general. Now we're just use the gun to clean off these guys, and then the final wave is gonna spawn here. Just have to dodge his knives. And by dodge, I mean like casually roll into them, because, you know, I have a lot of HP and defense now that these dives just kind of tickle. Alright, so I'm going to open my menu. I'm going to quickly activate these buffs all at the same time. And what that's going to allow me to do is charge up my wombo combo, and then basically one-shot that guy. Charge up another wombo combo. Do basically the same thing to this guy so that I can kill them really quickly. Because these guys do a lot of damage to Sigurd's shield really quickly. As you can see, it getting dangerously low. that's the end of that wave. Alright, so we have the 2 bosses remaining left in the run after these knives are done. We'll be getting into second of the last bosses. And then we're pretty much done the run. Now all you have to do is hope that this boss that's about to come up plays nicely, considering my handicap, and doesn't kind of prolong the fight, but I think we should still be okay. I kept a damage buff, which normally I don't have, so that should help offset the damage a bit for us. So, theoretically, this should be the final battle. It's one of the hardest fights of the run. We're going to go over to the right. It's going to make the boss come follow us over here. We're going to reactivate the armor penetration, add the damage buff. Those both last a minute, and then the other ones only last like 5 seconds. We're going to charge up a, hopefully try to charge up a wombo combo here, so that we can get as much damage as we can on the boss. Get him down as low as we can. Okay, I'm confused right now, which is kind of horrible, because it makes dealing with him a little harder to deal with. Oh my god. I didn't get the last bit of damage that I needed. Okay, his shield's really low at least. Okay, well, I guess we're not doing it that way. Come on. You gonna... Alright. Alright, so he didn't do the thing I was expecting him to do, which was to like fly around and then cause me to ice stuff. So now the last boss is coming up. It's a very quick fight. So we're pretty much getting ready on time here. So the consortium obviously is playing both sides of a team here. They have different plans for us. So we have a choice here at what to do. It does affect the ending of this game. If you want to see the other ending, highly suggest just like, you know, playing the game, going through it, learning more about the game. But we're going to skip a series of long cutscenes that chain together here. And we're going to do the final boss, in which, once the HP bar is depleted, we are done. So with watching the cutscene, which is still, like I said, rather long, and with some of the interesting things that have happened this run, because, you know, marathon luck and such, this will be finishing really close to the estimate, so that's good. But thankfully, the actual final last boss of the run is very easy.
Yeah, it's, despite a few mishaps there, it has been a great run to watch. And
as long as it's entertaining, that's all I'm happy about. So
yeah, yeah.
All right, so last boss is ourself. It's our transformed version. So we get to fight Amok, is what she is called. So we just gotta deplete her shield bar. She's gonna go into the back there and try to kill us with some lasers. Once she comes back into the foreground, we'll deplete the rest of her shield, deal full damage to her HP bar, and then time will happen on the last hit. Provided she doesn't troll me and end up with 1 HP and her bar looks like it's empty, because that's totally happened before. Alright, so no more shield. So time will be coming up in a moment. I just need a few more hits while her shield bar is down. If she plays nice. She is... Alright, time. Woo! She just was not playing nice. But otherwise, like, she doesn't stun me or anything when I'm attacking, so that's nice. But anyways, that's ANNO Mutationem. It's a cool game. It's got a lot of deep story. I'm just gonna say it right now, because a lot of people, including myself, had no idea
is.
But this game has a lot of SCP references.
We'll keep our
The
promise.
entire story plot is built off of that. So
Go now. Enjoy
if you want to
your
know
life.
more about that, play the game. There's a lot of side stuff related to it that you can explore and see. There is a small Discord with a few of us in there. You can find that on the speedrun.com page for this game. I do not have a submitted run because I'm really bad with submitting runs. I generally just play the game and have fun on my own, and you know, if I like a game enough, I'm just gonna play the game and, you know, obviously forget to submit runs, because, you know, I just spend too much time playing games and sharing content, and yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the run. Look forward to more people playing this game. I've already convinced like at least 3 other people or more in the last like month to play this game, and they've enjoyed it. So Genesis is one of them, Blue Metal's another. I think there's a couple others too that I don't remember off the top of my head, but those are 2 for the most recent ones that I know have been playing this game, and it's been nice. So, but yeah, that about does it for me. I mean, if you want to follow me, I don't stream super often because I don't really have a schedule, but I play this game quite a bit right now, and lots of other games. And if you want to find me, you can usually find me hanging around the Draken Year Discord, which I will plug only for the fact that it's another great community. And that's at sponsored by drakengard.com. It's a real URL. It will go to us. It's not a joke.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you once again for showing off this game. It has been a lot of fun. Anything else you want to say? You already had some shout outs there, but
Yeah, I guess, like, Lightning Games, keep doing awesome games like this. I want to see maybe a sequel, maybe some more content related to the story, because there's a lot still to explore. I like this cutscene because we get to meet her sister that was on vacation, because she's like a supermodel. And we meet her brother. But other than that, you know, this game is just amazing. Top to bottom, amazing voice acting. A lot of the voice actors are familiar because they're from games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well. 2 of the main characters have voiced characters in Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well as Genshin Impact. Majority of the characters for this game have voiced the character in Genshin Impact, funny enough. Along with other AAA titles. So, but I hope you all enjoyed the incentive to meet St. Nicholas. It's probably the most entertaining cutscene. And, yeah, this is the follow-up where he shows up again. But anyways, should probably get out of here.
all right. Coming up next, we're going to be setting up here for Toho 6, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, run by George. But I will be wrapping up my hosting shift and passing it on over. And that'll be in just a moment, I think. Make sure everyone's ready. But thank you once again, Mash, and we'll see you around.
Thank you for having me.
So pretty. The blue sky.
All right. I think we're ready for the host handover, so my time with you is at an end for this weekend. I have been MaddyInc, and thank you all for hanging out and hope you've been having a lot of fun. Next up, I'm handing you over to the capable hands of Trader Anade. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Maddie. It was awesome. And I am glad to be back on the mic here. So I am Trainer Anade, and of course, this is No Glitches Allowed 10, a charity event dedicated to speedruns with very few glitches or without glitches entirely. This includes no major glitches, glitchless, and any other run that doesn't have significant tricks or skips. If you're interested in getting involved or finding out more, make sure to join our Discord and follow us on Twitter to get updates about future events. Up next, we do have Toho 6, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, and it's going to be hard, no bombs, being run by George. We're not quite ready yet, still doing some setup, so definitely stick around. If you're interested, you can type that !donate in chat, and I will be right back with you. I do want to remind you, maybe you've been with us all week, or maybe you're just joining us today. This is No Glitches Allowed 10, and we are raising money for Go Rescue, a dog shelter in Norfolk, Virginia. Go Rescue works to provide a haven for homeless dogs, giving them the time, care, and love they need to find not just any home, but the right home. And one of the interesting things about Go Rescue is that it is not funded in any way. So Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center relies solely on the kindness and donations of others in order to continue. So far, this, week-ish of No Glitches Allowed 10, we have raised $1,011.43 that is going to go to that Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. But we still have, most of the day left. We have about 8 hours left. We can do a little bit more. If you want to type !donate in chat. Yep, I see that there in chat. You can follow that Tiltify link. And when you follow that Tiltify link, don't just click, just donate. Instead, you put in, your username if you want to be shown, the amount, comment. And if you go to select target, you can add in for the chance to get that tunic randomizer upgrading to the true ending. Right now, we're at $20 out of $100 needed to upgrade that tunic randomizer. So tunic, we're going to have a randomizer race as our last run of tonight. So we still have a few hours left. But if we can raise $100, we will get to upgrade that race to the true ending. So more gaming, more fun, and going towards that great cause. And then not only can you do that target, but you can also put your donations in towards our bid war. So currently we have a bid war for Loom. We have the Ms. Dragon bid war. You can either put your money in to bully her or to let her take a nap. Well, right now, we have $127 towards let her take a nap and only $8 towards bully her. So I think most of us want to, maybe give her a break. But, maybe you really want to bully Ms. Dragon in Loom, in which case you can put your money towards that and do that. I'm not actually sure which one's faster. So, pick which one you think is more fun, or maybe you just want to give her a break. All right, if you have also, maybe you've been here this whole week, if we've had No Glitches Allowed 10, we're nearing the end. We still have a few hours left. Maybe you're interested in future events. So if you want to, be involved in the next one, be on the lookout for news about No Holidays Allowed. That event is open to all kinds of speedruns and showcases, not just glitchless runs. We're looking forward to showing off some amazing speedruns to watch as you bundle up by the campfire this winter. And if you're interested in learning more, you can always join the Discord or follow the Twitter for No Glitches Allowed to find out when these next events are coming up, when volunteer applications open, when runner applications open. You can type !Discord in chat, and I believe those Twitter links can be found through the Discord. And we do have $10 from MASH that says, I hope you all have been enjoying No Glitches Allowed through the week, certainly full of amazing games and entertaining runners. Less than 3, St. Nicholas will be watching if you're naughty or nice, so brick up those fireplaces. And that's in relation to the run that MASH was just doing, that ANNO Mutationem, where we got to see the incentive of that St. Nicholas cutscene. Thank you so much for your donation, and that $10 went to the upgrading to True Ending Tunic Randomizer. We are now at $30 out of 100, so we're getting closer to being able to unlock that for our final run tonight. And also, MASH donated towards bullying Ms. Dragon. So, we're getting there. If you want to see Ms. Dragon get bullied, make sure you put your donations in for that. Right now, the plan when we get to Loom is that Ms. Dragon will be taking a nap. But, if you happen to have a bunch of money laying around, now might be a great time to donate and maybe switch it up to bully her. Whichever you want to do. Thank you again so much for your donation, and thank you everyone for being here with us for all of these amazing runs, for this great time, and for helping such a great cause.